Welcome to CSGO Solostrats, where we teach you how to use your utilities to the maximum benefit of your team when you solo queue and have no pre-made strategies or knowledge of your teammates. Today we will be going over Overpass bombsite B. I find this bombsite to be leaning a bit more towards favoring the terrorists, as they can reach the site pretty quickly. And you only see bomb when it is almost on site, so calling for a rotate also comes very late, while the CT rotate can also take a while to get there. As a terrorist, some of the angles you need to worry about these barrels over here, as this guy has an angle on monster down below and on A short. Also, as a terrorist, when you push out these spots, your whole body will be visible, while only the upper half or head of the CT will be visible. Also, this angle in water is a popular angle for CTs to play, as it is very easy to jiggle peek and fire from this angle. And also it's the same situation where a terrorist's whole body will be visible and only the head of the CT. Although a CT sitting water does not really have any angle to suppress monster unless he pushes out into the open. You also have these angles up top here at the Graffiti angle, which are two popular spots to play, and then of course you also have heaven, from where an AWPer especially can pick you as you push out A short, or when you push out past a pillar from monster. Okay, so in my humble experience in solo queue, the spots that will do the most damage to your team is barrels over here and heaven up top. Even though a lot of guys know how to pre-aim the barrels, you'll also find a lot of teammates who don't. Furthermore, barrels is one of the few positions on site with angles on A short and monster, so cancelling it out takes away a powered position from the CTs. And exactly the same argument counts for heaven up top as well. Okay, so the smoke that we are going to be using. Simply get your smoke, stand against this board here and aim at that spot. Let me get my scope. You see, aim at the middle of the beam and do a left click throw. And as you will see, the smoke's heaven pretty nicely. There we go. As for the molly, you simply stand in this corner. You find the halfway point between this block and this block. Aim at the bottom concrete beam and do a running throw. And that will molly barrels off nicely. So if heaven is smoked off and barrels is mollied, that allows your team as they push out to isolate that angle and then the angle in the water, as they don't have to worry about the 50-50 with heaven being smoked up top. So it's beneficial for the teammates coming from monster as well as these guys pushing out from short. They don't have to worry about that barrels angle, they only need to clear water, which creates then a crossfire for you with the teammates coming from monster. And then also just worry about this angle, which can also be isolated. I just want to show you one more clever smoke, as you will find that if you continuously smoke heaven a lot of times, that the guy will decide to rotate down here. So another easy smoke for that is to stand against this beam here, aim at the light up top and left click throw. This will smoke off the breach, and this will make it easy for your team as well when they reach this point, as they only have to worry about this side of the bomb site when they get here, and they don't have to worry about these side angles. So now you can isolate the angles one at a time without having to be visible from multiple angles. There are other smokes you can use, but they are better used in conjunction with smokes from teammates, which you don't always get when you solo queue. However, when we discuss the retakes as a CT, we will cover some more extra smoke, so keep on watching if you are interested in learning more. Okay, playing as a CT on Overpass B is quite a daunting task, as you have the situation where a lot of the places you can sit, you can't really see both entrances to the site easily, and by the time you see and can call bomb for the rotation, the terrorists are already on site, putting a lot of pressure on the rotate and extra pressure on you to stay alive. Also, it is quite a race from CT to B. You can, if you have a good spawn, come down and do a quick peek and see bomb to give you some extra seconds, but there is no time to set up fancy smokes and mollies, as when the terrorists rush monster, they get here very quickly. Sometimes they are even willing to rush through the molly. Either way, that being said, I'll quickly go over the utility usage when you are sitting barrels, also when you are sitting water, when you are sitting heaven, and also when you are doing this graffiti angle. So let me start with heaven. This is quite a popular spot as you have a good view of most of the site. However, to delay the terrorist charge is a bit difficult as you only see them at a very late stage. And if your teammates are pushed out to the fountain area, it is a long rotate to get to you. So any couple of extra seconds you can delay the terrorist charge on B is very important. Heaven is a good position as you can to some extent delay on monster as well as delay the charge from the pipe heading into B short and also the sandbags passage on B short. So let's start with the incendiary. So for the incendiary we are standing at this corner and the building at the back is your reference. You find this row where all 4 windows are light blue and then you aim in between these 2 windows and you do a running throw. As you can see, this will bounce into the pipe and usually do some damage as well if the terrorists were rushing. As for the smoke, it is also pretty easy. We stand in exactly the same spot, find this yellow sign and then go up to the top of the fence and do a left click throw. And this will smoke off this whole area. What I like about this is that it also smokes off sandbags so they can't boost over it. Alright, so now let's get back up to heaven so we can discuss the utilities for delaying the charge on monster. From heaven, because of this pillar, it is quite difficult to do an effective delay. However, what you can do if you have a teammate going to barrels and you see he's running a bit late, you can delay the charge for a second or 2 just to allow him to get into position. So with the incendiary, we just aim at the right hand bottom of the rectangle and do a shift walk throw. As you can see, this will only delay them for a small amount of time before they can push around the fire. And back up to heaven. As for the smoke, we stand in the same corner and then imagine that there is a diagonal line running up from this corner to this one and we aim halfway up it and do a normal left click throw. And that will smoke off this area, which will not delay them for that long, and if they are feeling overconfident they can still push the smoke here. However, it also does buy you that extra second or 2 to call in the rotate. Okay, next positions. Barrels. So if you are playing barrels, it is pretty easy to use your utilities. For the smoke on short, you just find a halfway point between the red and the purple paint and you do a left click throw. And as you can see, this blocks off this approach. As for the incendiary, you can use the exact same lineup. So you can maybe do the molly first and then do an after smoke. Also from here the lineup for monster is very easy. You simply aim into the pipe and throw. But if they are rushing, you won't really have time to do this because usually if you reach this point they will already have started to push the pipe. The only real time where the push from monster will be delayed is when the terrorists are doing a split push, as these guys from monster have to wait for the other teammates to come around, which takes a bit longer. So in this case you will have time to throw these utilities and delay them a bit longer. Okay, playing this angle in water is very popular as you can peek out easily and get your shots. However, it is a problem if the guys push out here. By the time you see them, the bomb is already on site. So for this water position, to smoke off short is pretty easy. It is the same as from heaven. You aim at the yellow plaque and up to the top of the fence and left click throw. Now as you will see, this will smoke it off nicely. As for the molly, you simply aim at the back wall. And of course now we get lost in the smoke. So let me just show you again. So you aim at the back wall and do a left click throw. And this will block off the approach, buying you a few extra seconds. Also, what I like to do when playing this angle in the water, especially if I have someone sitting barrels, when he gets shot or starts falling back because the terrorists are doing a full monster rush, is to aim at this stain on the ground and do a right click jump throw, like this. So what this does is it blocks off this whole part here. And I usually combine it with a molly by standing at the same spot and aiming at this dark corner and doing a normal left click throw. What this does, it allows me to fall back to a safer angle and also just blocks off the approach, buying the guys doing the retake a few extra seconds to get onto site. Now, playing these angles over here, I'm not a big fan of playing them because if you are sitting this side, you can't really see them pushing out monster. You'll only see them once they are already on site. But you do have a good angle on B short. So this position I will only play if I have a teammate in heaven or one at barrels. This other side angle you do have a bit better view, but you're exposed from a few angles at once, as they can come out there or there or there. And also if they pin you down, you have nowhere to fall back to. However, let me show you some utility tricks from these spots. If you come up to this little piece of the broken tile and then you aim your incendiary at the corner of that bottom balcony and do a left click throw, that will block off the pipe nicely and delay the charge as well. For the smoke, it is the same as from the other angles. You find a yellow plaque, find the top of the fence and do a left click throw. This will smoke off this section. From this angle you can't really do much to block off monster, as any smokes bounced off this pillar will still allow them to push around it. However, from this side you might be able to buy a second or two delay with an incendiary if you stand on this corner, aim through there and do a shift walk throw. Okay, so that's it for playing the city side utilities. Okay, as a CT you will be retaking from monster, or you will be coming through lowest, retaking through B short, or you'll be coming from CT spawn and coming through heaven or graffiti. For the retake smokes, it all depends on if you are retaking solo or if you have a teammate coming from somewhere. If for instance you are retaking from B short and a teammate is coming heaven, it makes no sense to smoke heaven, as that would just be counterproductive. Okay, so let's go through all the retakes, discussing how to use utilities depending on where you have a teammate. If you are retaking through monster and you have a teammate coming heaven, that means that you don't have to worry about this angle or this angle, as your teammate in heaven will clear these. However, from heaven he will not be able to see this terrorist sitting back here or back here. So what we want to do is smoke off this area. It is pretty easy. We just reverse into this corner. We find this wall up here and aim upwards. Unfortunately there is no exact reference, but it is about the size of one of these bricks upwards, and you do a left click throw. What this will do, let me just go around and show you, is this will smoke there. Now when you come out, because those angles are covered by your teammate, you can just swing around, clear these angles on short and go for the defuse. Now let's discuss the situation where you are coming monster and your teammate is coming not heaven but graffiti. As you will see, your teammate can see the barrel's position. However, he will not be able to see if there is someone sitting in the water here. So what happens is, even if you have a teammate graffiti, when you push onto site, this guy shoots you from the side. So what we want to do is smoke off this area over here, and also of course we need to keep heaven in mind as well, as your teammate doesn't have an angle on it. So what we do is we stand on his trash bags, and then you aim at the tippy top of the tower and left click throw. And now, because you have a teammate graffiti, you don't have to worry about barrels. So you can actually push up here without being visible from water or heaven. So this allows you to isolate these angles and make certain there is no one here. Then you can isolate and fight this water angle and then peek heaven as well if need be. So you only have to take the fights one at a time. Now, if you are pushing monster and your teammate is coming short, you might want to use the smoke on bridge as shown earlier, as the guy coming short will be able to see barrels and water but not heaven. However, there is no way to smoke heaven from monster. So now, because you know he has these angles covered, you have to swing around and pre-aim heaven and clear it for him. And with the smoke blocking off Graffiti, it means that your teammate can reach here without ever entering a crossfire from that angle. Okay, so if you are pushing out short and you have a teammate in heaven, you don't need to worry about barrels and water, as your teammate can call those. So what you need to worry about is this angle over here, as the guy in heaven won't be able to see there. So to smoke, we use the terrorist smoke as shown earlier, where you run into this beam and bounce it off the light. And then as an extra measure, you can bounce a molly off this guy's head. Now, because you have a teammate in heaven, these angles should be clear. So with this molly, you know the immediate angle to the right is clear, so you just need to watch down here. And now you can defuse with your teammate covering you from heaven. If you are pushing short and your teammate is pushing monster, a good idea is to just smoke off heaven and molly barrels. The smoke you do from here and aim at that part of the pole and left click throw. Then do the running incendiary on barrels. So what this means is you only have to worry about this angle and these two angles, and you can isolate each of them. Also, this helps your teammate from monster, as he doesn't have to worry about this angle or that angle when he swings around. So you can just come through here, clear water and clear those angles at Graffiti when the smoke fades. Lastly, if you are pushing short and you have a teammate coming Graffiti, that means your teammate can call barrels for you, but not if there is an enemy in water or back there at monster. So the smoke that I would suggest in this instance is to come over here, aim at that square and do a left click throw. What this does is smoke off sight, and it means that you won't be visible from water or from heaven. Your teammate will be sitting here covering that angle, so you only need to worry about this guy rushing monster. So now you can surprise the guy sitting water or go for the defuse. Okay, so if you are retaking from here at Graffiti and you have a teammate coming monster, a good idea is to smoke off this angle at B short for him, and to molly barrels for him, as this cancels out this crossfire when he reaches this position. That leaves him to only worry about heaven up top and water down below. So you can come around, clear heaven and water and defuse. Also at the same time you can push around and clear heaven and water as well, supporting your teammate. Okay, so the way we do the smoke and molly from Graffiti is very simple. Let's do the molly first. So it's very easy, you simply stand against this wall, then you aim at that little corner there up top and left click throw. And as you can see, that lands at barrels. As for the smoke, you stand against the other side wall, aim at that meeting line of the roof over there, halfway up, and left click throw. Let's see how that smokes. This is very nice because the guy over here can't even peek you coming out. So that's a good smoke and molly combination that you can use for a solo retake as well. Okay, so if you're going Graffiti and your teammate is coming out short, you obviously do not want to smoke off here at B short. So because you're standing back here at Graffiti, you can see and clear barrels. However, you will not be able to see if there is a guy sitting the water angle or one in heaven. So what you want to do is smoke off there at the water position. and to throw a molly deep for your teammate towards monster, which allows him to peek out and clear heaven. So the way we do the molly is simply as shown earlier, just to aim a bit upwards and left of the board from this corner and to do a shift walk throw. That means there will be a delay for your teammate if someone wants to come from behind out of monster. As for the smoke to water, simply stand over here and do a running throw to bounce it off that wall. And as you can see, that smokes off this angle over here, allowing your teammate to push out. Okay, lastly, if you are Graffiti and your teammate is going heaven, I would also use the smoke over there at B short to block off that angle for him, so he has a little bit less angles to worry about. Also, I would do the same molly to barrels, which means he only has to worry about the water side and back of side angles, and then you can swing out and clear underneath heaven for him. The reason that I choose to molly barrels is that a lot of times the guys like to sit here and wait for the retake, especially if they know you are coming from A and might go heaven. Because when you push out of heaven as a CT, you have at least 6 angles to worry about, and this guy barrels is already pre-aiming you. Okay, so if you are retaking from heaven and you have a teammate pushing monster, because you are in heaven you can see or call these angles at water or barrels as clear, which means that the terrorists are hiding somewhere in short or somewhere over here at Graffiti. So the smoke to short is pretty easy as shown earlier. You simply stand in this corner, find the yellow plaque and aim at the top of the fence, and left click throw to smoke off short. As for the incendiary, you just want to swap from this corner over here to this corner over here. Aim halfway down that pillar and left click throw, and that will molly off that angle. So now your teammate, when he pushes out, that guy in the right hand Graffiti angle can't see him, and the left side of the angle will be mollied. Short will be smoked off, so he can basically just run up and defuse while you can cover him. If you are coming heaven and your teammate is coming short, you can clear and call these angles at water and barrels. So you know the terrorists must be hiding monster over there, or once again over here at Graffiti. So it is the same thing as earlier, but now we will do the incendiary over there at monster, where we stand in a corner, aim at the bottom right of the rectangle and do a shift walk throw. It is not a perfect delay, but that will just make the guy in monster's life a bit more difficult to push out on demand, and delay his timing a second or two. As for these guys over here, we simply stand in the same corner, aim at that window and up to the roof and do a left click throw, and this will smoke the angle pretty nicely. Also, if they try to rotate around the smoke, they have to cross your angle of fire to get to your teammate, so you can provide nice covering fire from heaven. Okay, lastly, if you are in heaven and your friend is retaking from Graffiti, you can call and see these angles at water, barrels and back of sight. So the only real uncovered angles are those ones at monster and B short. So you use your smoke to smoke off short and the molly to delay the push from monster. And that's it. Remember to clear water below heaven when you push out and go get that win. Now, if you need to do a solo retake and really don't have any idea where they can be sitting, it is a big gamble and you can't use the utilities to the benefit of the team as you are alone, solo. So in this situation, just use the utilities to benefit you personally, as you now have quite an arsenal for this site at your disposal. So use them to smoke off the angles that you feel you are having the most problems with in this specific match. So if you are having trouble pre-aiming heaven for instance, then smoke heaven for yourself and clear the rest of the site like the champion you are. And that's it for bombsite B. The time this took just shows that this site is a bit more complicated than it looks at first glance, but at least now you have a pretty decent idea of how to approach it and some nice lineups for the whole site. Remember to like, hit the subscribe and the notification bell, as videos will be coming out for all the other bomb sites as well.